Good morning, all of you. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? So today we have reached to our sixth practical of Python programming. Today's topic is selection structures in Python. Before moving to that, I will show you some programs sent by students. During the last practical, I asked you to develop that electronic circuit in turtle mode. I will just show you some codes sent by students. ඔයාලත් මොන හරි අලුතෙන් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් ලිව්වොත් ඒක පොඩක් එවන්න. I can't remember the name of the student. Okay, it is not mentioned here in the code. I will just run the program. So this is one of the turtle program related to the digital electronic circuit that we discussed. It is developed by one of the students. Okay, so enter A, say 1, B is also 1, C is also 1. Then this is the A is 1 I set, then the not of A, D is false. Okay, hope that you also capable enough to develop this kind of program. I didn't put the submission links and homeworks for the last few sessions, right? Anyway, you can go through the basic programs that I asked to do, and if you develop any good program, always send it to me, right? Then we can share them with our students. Yes, and there was another program sent by students related to strings. Actually, it is something that I usually give as a homework. I will show that recent. This NIC program. It is a kind of if-else program. Right. One thing is that when you are developing a program, all of you, when you are developing a program, so this is a program sent by some students. No? So at the beginning, you can put some comments, right? For example, this is created by a student. It is not created by student, right? So you can put the date of created or date of modified. You can put the date. Today is 29th of July 2021. It's a good practice, huh? I did not mention this earlier, and also you can put the title or purpose. You can say project name, circuit, turtle version. Then those who are looking at the code later, they can also have some idea. I will share this code with you, right? You can copy it down and you can try it later. I think chat is not enough to share it. The chat, there is a maximum number of characters. I share the file, right? So you can download it and you can use it later. Okay, this is also another program. Like we will come to that later. Right. Today our plan is to discuss selection structures in Python, right? During the first session, the turtle programming session also, I gave you some basic idea about selection structures, right? The selection structures are also known as if-else. It's a very common name, if-else, or sometimes it is called selection. If-else, both terms are used. More general term is selection structure. The keyword used is if, therefore it is called if-else statement. Right. So what you have to do is you have to uh, open the editor. You can go for file, new file, and you have to type the given program. Okay, look. Check one, check, check one, check one. Right, all of you. So this is the if statement, right? So the first one is an input. Here we have if, then particular condition, then you have to put the colon. You have to put the colon. Once after colon, if you go to a new line, if you enter, you can see that the cursor is not at the beginning of the line, right? After colon, if you enter, automatically there will be a tab. Automatically there will be a tab. Okay. So with that tab, you have to enter the command. Okay. For example, let's say if the program is like this, if the program is like this, enter marks, enter marks, let's say I'm going to enter 23, then it will say the congratulations, you are passed. Okay, so if I run the program for another value, let's say 77, still you can see that you can see the command, the congratulations, and you are passed. We have three instructions in our program. So all these three instructions are run one after another. Input, then print congratulations, then print your pass. This can be controlled or this can be selected by using if statement. You have to put if, then you have to put a condition. The condition can be either true or false. M greater than or equals 40. Let's say pass mark is 40. Then put a colon. Okay, put a colon and go to the new line. Then automatically there will be a tab. If you are using a mobile editor, you have to only put a space, right? Otherwise, you have to put a tab. Tab කියලා key එකක් තියෙනවනේ keyboard එකේ. Then, if you run the program, if you enter marks like 67, it will say that congratulations, you are passed. But if you run the program for a value like 23, then what happen is, this condition is false. This condition is false. M is 23, 23 greater than or equal 40 is false. Because of that, these two lines are not selected, right? So tab is the one used to identify all these things, right? Let's say if you did not put a tab for the second line, I'm going to run the program. So if I enter 77, you can see that it says congratulations, you are passed. Now if I'm going to run the program for 12, then you can see that 12, the congratulations is not printed. Okay, but your pass is printed because the now your pass is not belongs to the if statement, right? So if you put a tab like this, then both of these lines are subjected to the condition m greater than or equals 40. If it is true, it will be run and you can see output. If the condition is false, then both lines will be not selected. If the condition is true, the both lines are selected. Otherwise, both lines are not selected. So that's the basic idea behind the selection structure. Okay. We will start with the first one. ඔයාලා මේක type කරලම බලන්න පොඩ්ඩක් අපි මේක සමහරලාට මේ දේවල් ඔයාලා දන්නවත් ඇති, right? But I want to discuss everything from the beginning. Therefore, try the exercise number 1. The title of the exercise number 1 is if statement. If statement. All of you, if statement කියන එක run කරලා බලන්න. Module එකක් විදියට ගහන්න, right? Do it as a Python module. Module එකක් විදියට අරගෙන කරන්න. එතකොට හරි. Hello. tab එක auto එනවා. හරි. tab එකක් අපි ගහන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. tab එක auto එනවා. tab එකක් auto එනවා. tab එකක් කියන්නේ characters 4ක 5ක වගේ space එකක්. ඒකට tab එකත් single character එකක් විදිහට තමයි consider කරන්නේ. Right? Automatically there will be a tab or space. Normally in computers you have to use tab. If you are using a mobile device, it will be a space, right? So after colon, if you just enter, automatically you will be directed to the next line with a tab. That's how you have to do it. Okay, so you can try the program for different inputs, and you can see what happens if the condition is satisfied. Then if the condition is satisfied, then the instructions are executed, otherwise instructions are not executed. Right, all of you. So beside of the program, it is better to draw this flow chart. Code එක ඉස්සරහා පොඩි ඉඩක් තියලා තියෙනවනේ. In that place you can draw this flow chart, right? So here in the if statement, what happened is we have condition here, m greater than or equals 40, right? So depending on the condition is true or false, right? If condition is true, then the pass and regulations will be executed. These commands will run, right? Otherwise these commands will bypass and move into the flow the program without running these two statements. ඔතන ඉස්සරහා ඉඩ තියෙනවනේ, එතන පොඩ්ඩක් මේක ඇඳගන්න if statement එක. So in general, this is how you have to use the if statement. In general, this is the general format. I am going to write down the general format of if statement. If, then you have to put a condition and put a colon, right? Then there must be a tab here. Then you have to put your instruction. It can be one or many instructions. Okay, so this is the general form of if statement. This condition can be either true or false. If you want to, instead of condition, you can put true. Then always this instruction, one or several instructions here, is executed. If you put false, this will never run, right? Here you have to put a condition. Condition is something like the comparison or logical operation. Last time we discussed comparisons greater than, less than. Then result is either true or false. No? If you use a logic statement like and or not, then again result is true or false. So you have to put something either true or false here. You have to put a Boolean value. Okay, so this is the if statement. I'm explaining all these things assuming that your knowledge of programming is zero, right? So if you have some basic idea, if we use the keyword true, then condition is true always, right? Always this one will run. If you put false here, always condition is false, no? Then you will not come to this line, right? I'm doing all these things assuming that okay, I'm assuming that your knowledge is zero, right? Some of you are having troubles with module opening and all. All of you. So if you go to file, look at, if you go to file, then new file, you can create a new module, okay? Otherwise, if you go to file, open, then you can open new, open the existing ones. Otherwise, you can go to file, recent files, and you can open a recent file. That's how you have to open, right? If you want to run, you have to go to run module. That's how you have to do it. Right, all of you. Now, let's say we want to display both pass and fail. If all of you, if you want to display when the marks are less than 40, fails, fail, one of the method is you can use another if statement. You can use another if statement, m less than 40, right? And you have to put that print fail. Again, there must be a, right? Yeah, like this fail. Okay, obviously we have to say pass or fail, no? Right? So one of the method is we can use two statements, right? For example, now 67, it will say pass because the first condition is satisfied. Therefore, these two lines will run. But if I enter 22 or something like that, then it will say fail because this one is false. Therefore, these two are not selected. But m less than 40 is true, then the print is fail. Normally, in the most of the time, we have to select 2 out of 1. Most of the time, pass, fail, yes, no. Likewise, agree, disagree. Likewise, always we have in day-to-day life in logic, we have two things, and we have to select one, right? So such situation, now the fail is opposite of pass, no? Such situation, there's a simple way. You have to just put else. You don't have to put any condition. You have to, there's another statement called if else statement. It is suitable for fast failures, no, accepted, non-accepted situations. You have to do something or not. You have to do something or something else, right? Now, if m greater than or equals 40, we are going to say congratulations, you have passed. Else, that means otherwise, we are going to say fail, right? No. So I'm going to run this. Enter your marks. For example, if let's say 12, now it will say fail. So the if-else statement can be implemented by using two if statements, but it is easy to implement it using else statement compared to right. Okay, so next we are going to look at the if-else statement. Okay, before moving to that, all of you look at the handout. In your handout, okay, in your handout, මම මෙතන පොඩි ඉඩක් තියලා තියෙනවනේ. There is a space here. You see that this is space. So use this space to draw the flow chart that I make a flow chart. We have learned flow charts up to a certain level. Draw the flow chart here. Okay. Here you have to put the code. What is the general syntax for if statement? You have to start with if, then put a condition, put a colon, then there must be a tab, then put the command or instruction. Command, it can be one command or several commands. So that is the syntax. It is called syntax style. That is called syntax. That is the syntax for if statement in Python. Flowchart එකත් ඇඳ ගන්න ඇඳපු නැති අය ඉන්න උනා ඇඳ ගන්න. Those who complete exercise 1, you can move into exercise number 2. It is related with if-else statement. Screen එක අපව පොඩ්ඩක් share කරන්න board එක. If you did not draw the flow chart, so better to draw the flow chart. Okay, so try to do the exercise number 2. It is about if-else statement. මේක මේ ඇඳගත්තේ නැත්නම් මේක පොඩ්ඩක් අඳින්න. I'm going to draw the flow chart suitable for the if-else statement. If-else statement. මේක තමයි 1 එකට අදාළ එක. Okay. Here I'm going to draw for the second one. In that one we have m greater than or equal 40. These lines are called flow lines. So we are going to discuss flow charts as a separate lecture, right? It is called computer algorithm. They have true, false, two parts. Okay, so this is the suitable flow chart for if-else statement. If m greater than 40, if it is true, go through the pass. That in other words, select the pass command. Here otherwise the select the fail command. So one of these two is selected. One of these two is selected depending on the condition. Selection, right? මකර එකක් තියෙනවා නම් තමයි if කියන එක ගන්න. මකර දෙකකින් එකක් කරගන්න තියෙනවා නම් තමයි if else කියලා use කරන්නේ. So it is possible to implement if else statement by using two if statements. So this is the command for, this is the syntax for if else statement. If, then put a command, condition, put some colon, then let's say instruction A, instruction or command, instruction A, else, again colon, then after tab, instruction B. So A or B is selected depending on the condition. If the condition is true, instruction A is selected and run. If the condition is false, right, else means opposite of this, then instruction B is selected and run. Okay, draw this flow chart and you can run the program and see the output. මේ හැම එකේම අන්තිමට තියෙන point එක ඔයාලා කියවලා බලන්න. Under the exercise 1 you can see that if in if statement, all of you look at the last sentence at the end of the exercise number 1. In if statement, if statement, if the condition is true, right, then the code within the if statement is run. Right? So under the exercise 2, there's a space, no? So you can draw the flow chart, right? And you can write down the syntax for if else statement, and you can read the last sentence. In if statement, if the condition is true, then the code within the if statement is run. Else, true නැත්නම් else the code within the else statement is run. That is what is happening. So in most of the programming languages, right, you can see the if statement and if else statement. Language to language, the code wise there are some syntax wise there are some differences. Some cases you have to put brackets, curly brackets and so on, but this is available in all the programming languages, right? C language, C++, Python, Java, all the programming languages. Okay, then we are moving to if else ladder. Okay, if else ladder, it is the exercise number 3. If else ladder. Right, think about a grading example. All of you think about a grading example. Now let's say we have to grade the students. We have to grade the students according to marks. Okay, we have to grade the students according to marks, A, B, C. Likewise, So we can do this in this manner. All of you, we have input now. Then first we have to check check for A. Look at check for A. Right? A is 70 no, 75 no. So if marks are greater than 75, all of you, marks are greater than 75. So you can say A, right? Then this is the condition for A. Then let's say the B grade, check for B, we can use another if statement. Look at then M must be less than 75. And last time we discussed this, and M is greater than or equals 65, right? Then it is B pass. In this kind of coding, by using this kind of coding, actually only using if statement, it is possible to implement multiple selections. In other words, it is possible to grade. Okay, now M is greater than 75. මේක අර මෙහෙමත් ලියන්න පුළුවන් නේ, combine කරලා M less than 65, right? But in between කියලා usual according to the mathematical notation we can use in Python, no? So greater than or equal 50, it's a C pass. Likewise we can do it. Okay, but compared to this method, we have, instead of going to this method, we have a simple way in Python, right? The simple way is Python. The way is, if M greater than or equal 75, then you have to put L if M greater than or equal 65, and put the command, for example B. Likewise, first of all, can you try the exercise number 3? Then we can discuss further. All of you, try exercise number 4. Exercise number 3. See, elif is the short name for else if. Okay, elif, the idea is else if. W within, for example 56, it must be a C pass. 99, A plus, A pass. 12, W. So you have to, once you press F5, the program will run, or you have to run it again and again. No? When you press the F5, the program is run, no? Right? Then I have to run it again. ගොඩක් අය අහන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි මේක දිගටම රන් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක. So next week we are going to learn it. Repetitive structure. Okay, I'm going to draw the flowchart suitable for exercise number 3. Okay, so you have to copy it down. මේ දෙක ලියාගත්තේ නැති අය ඉන්නවනම් and නැතිව ඉන්නවනම් ඒක ඉස්සෙල්ලා අඳින්න මම දාලා තියෙනවා. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to draw the flowchart for exercise number 3. It is called if elif else. If elif else ladder. It's like a ladder. So we have m greater than or equals 75. Okay. If it is true, the output is A. And that's it. Okay. If the first condition is satisfied, right, the first task is achieved and going out of the program. You have to copy this down. This is called if ladder. If else ladder. If else ladder. So there's a separate section called computer algorithms. You can see it in the practical number 9. Practical number 9 again. Yeah. Practical number 8. Practical number 9. And we are going to discuss computer algorithms in detail. Then if you are not familiar with this kind of flowcharts, right? Don't worry, we are going to discuss them at the moment. Just copy it down. I'm going to discuss separate section for computer algorithm, practical number 8. In that one, we are going to learn the algorithms and all. This is called decision. Okay, පාරවල් දෙකකට හැරිලා යන එකක් නෙමෙයි. You must put the tab. Tab එක තිබ්බ නැත්නම් errors එන්නේ tab හරියට තිබ්බ නැත්නම්. All the lines must be started from the beginning or after a tab, right? Within the if else, you have to put a tab. For other lines is starting from the beginning. මේක අඳින්නකෝ, මේක ඇඳ ගන්නකෝ. I will explain. මේ copy කරගන්න flow chart එක. ගොඩක් අය එක එක ප්‍රශ්න අහන ඔක්කොටම අපිට උත්තර දෙන්න බෑ මේ වෙලාවේ, right? Asking about modules and all. So step by step I am going to teach all the steps, right? Still we are in ordinary level, right? Earlier we were in grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have reached up to grade 8, grade 9 ordinary level, right? Then we wish to go to A levels and then university, no? Python still we are in grade 8, grade 9. So doing practical number 6 means you are in grade 6, something like that. Okay, I'm going to explain this, all of you. All of you, I'm going to explain this. Look at here. What happened is, all of you, if the first condition is satisfied, if m greater than or equals 75, then the first command is selected, and that's the end of the statement. We are not looking at any other statements, right? Let's say that the m is not greater than or equal to 75. If the condition is false, then go to the next stage. We are here, we are going to check the second statement because the first one is false. In other words, now m is less than 75. So under the condition that m less than 75, we are going to check this. So this now m is something less than 75. We are going to check whether m is greater than or equal 65, right? If so, we will do it, and that's it. That's the end. If still if if it is still false, then check the next one, and so on. So you can put, actually this is something like, if these are related with elif, this is also elif, right? This is also elif. So finally this is the else one, right? පළවෙනි if එකෙන් පස්සේ තමයි මෙතෙන්ට එන්නේ if එක. පළවෙනි දෙවෙනි else if එකෙන් තමයි මෙතෙන්ට එන්නේ. else if, this is the last else if, and this is the else. If all the conditions are false, then go to the last statement, else statement, right? Okay, so this is the idea, right? So the thing is that the within the if L, within the if else, you can use any number of else. You can use any number of if statements, right? Else එකයි නේ අන්තිමට එන්නේ, මේවත් එකයි. Anyway, these are not essential. These you can use any number of, even you can use zero number. Else is also not essential. If you want to do nothing here, you can remove the else statement. So what I'm going to tell is, if else is the more general situation. All of you, we discuss 3 topics now. We discuss if statement, then we discuss if else statement, then we discuss if else statement, right? So in the third one, in if else statement, you can use any number of if statements. You can use any number of if statement. In this example, we have only used 3 if statement. You can use any number of if statements. That is one thing. And you can ignore it. If you ignore if statement, it is if else statement. And the other thing is that else statement is also optional, right? In if else statement, if you want, you can exclude else statement. මේක නැතුවත් ගන්න පුළුවන් according to particular situation. There is no any error, right? So if you want, you can ignore both else and if and else, then it will be if statement. So if else is the more general one. If else is the more general one, right? In if else statement, here you have drawn the flow chart now, right? So here you can mention the number of if else, number of if statements, right? Can be any number of any number of L if any number of L if. Again, it is optional, right? එක දාන්න නැතුව ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. Optional. The else statement is also optional. එකත් ඕනනම් දාන්න නැතුව ඉන්න පුළුවන්. So there can be any number of L if statements and both L if and else are optional. දෙක දැම්මේ නැතත් ප්‍රශ්නකුත් නැහැ. Right. So this is the summary, right? This is the summary. Let's say you have to check for particular condition, one specific condition. One specific condition. Such situation, you have to use if statement. Okay. If you have to select if you have to select one out of two, right? You have to select one out of two. One is opposite of other. Pass fail. Then you have to use. Then better to use if else statement. Okay. We have several things. Look, we have A, B, C, S, W. We have 5 of them. We have to select one of them. මේවා ඔක්කොම select වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Maths වලට මේවා එකයිනේ හම්බෙන්නේ. You have to select one of these. Such situation, you have better to use if else if. Can you understand? You have to use if else if. For example, I did not put the start and end in all the flow charts. Normally, I only draw the if else part only. There is an input at the beginning and start here end. I did not draw it to minimize the flow chart, right? Now think situation like this. In a cricket match this time, these days there are some cricket match, no? Let's say you are interested with a specific player. Just for a moment. Hello? All of you, we won the yesterday match. Let's say you are interested with specific player. You only like for one player, right? When that player comes to batting, you are going to cheer. You are going to cheer. Otherwise, you are not going to cheer. So you are going to watch the match, or you are watching the match on the TV or YouTube, right? Only specific for the only specific player, you are going to you are interested with only specific player. Then it is if statement. Otherwise, you are doing your regular work, right? For the only for, let's say we have cricket match, you are only, let's say we have cricket match, you are only watching the cricket match in played by the Sri Lankan team, something like that. Then think of a situation when at the end of the cricket match, it can be either there can be win or loss, no? So that is something like if else, right? So depending on the situation, if you are looking at a specific point, or one out of two, or one out of multiple, you have to select one of these three statement: if statement, if else statement, or if else statement. That's it. So we are going to look at several other programs. With those programs, you will be more fluent in if else statement. So I have given a program here. Okay, the modulus of the input. Now you have to enter a number. Let's say it's an integer. If the integer is positive or zero, the output is just the integer. Okay, if the otherwise else, no, otherwise the output is the negative of the integer. Now we are coming to else here. If it is not positive, we are coming here. If it is negative, then negative of negative, no, it will be a positive number, right? So that's how we have to select whether number is a modulus of a number. Hmm? You can try exercise number 4. It's an example of if-else statement. Then you have to modify that code in order to make it odd-even program. Shall we do it? If do the exercise number 4, then you have to convert it into exercise number 5. Exercise 4 එක කරන්න හැමෝම. Exercise 4. X is the integer. Enter an integer. Integer, right? Now, if x is greater than or equal to 0, print output කියලා දාලා තියෙන වැඩි හොඳ modulus is same as else modulus is minus x, right? So if you run it for 12, it says 12. If you run it for minus 12, still it will produce 12. Okay, so edit the program according to exercise number. Okay, so try to edit it and obtain the odd-even program. ඔත්තේද ඉරට්ටේද කියලා. We are going to convert this into 5 it is about odd even. ඔත්තේද ඉරට්ටේද? Hmm? What is the condition that you have to look at? So normally when I answer from a student, they will say that by inspecting the last digit, we can say, okay, by inspecting last digit odd or even, we can say that's correct. But again, we have to find whether the last digit is on odd or even. No. Okay. අන්තිම ඩිජිට් එක ඔඩ්ද ඉවන්ද කියලා බලනවා කියලා නෙවෙයි නේ අපි කරන්නේ මේක දෙකෙන් බෙදලා බලන්න ඕන කීයක් දෙන්නේ කියලානේ. If the remainder is 0, it is even. Even. Else it is odd. Okay. For example, 12 is even. 13 is odd. You can remember equal sign. Equal sign twice is used for comparison. Last time we discussed operations for equality, we have to use equal twice. Okay, then you can go to exercise number 6, which is about quadratic equations. All of you try to do that quadratic equation one. Consider a quadratic equation. Develop a Python program to accept ABC as inputs, then calculate the discriminant. Display one of the following depending on the value of the discriminant, right? What is the what we have to use here? What is statement we have to use for question exercise 6? What is statement that we have to use? Either if statement or if else statement, or what we have to use? There are 3 options too. Therefore, elif is the best one that we have to use. Compared to using 3 if statements, use of single if elif else is always taking less computational time. The efficiency wise, better to use the suitable one instead of using several if statements. Okay, so there are 3 inputs now. Therefore, you have to use not only for integers, so better to use float here. Float කියලා දාන එකනේ හොඳ. We are doing exercise number 6, quadratic equation. There is a way of entering multiple inputs at the same time. So later we are going to discuss it. So initially you can use something like this ABC. You have to take 3 separate inputs, right? There is a method to provide all the input at once, but in the first case, this is coefficients. Then discriminant delta කියලා දාමු. delta මේ දවස්වල තියෙනව නේද? b squared minus 4 into a into c. Okay, if delta positive, what happened? Distinct and real. This real and different. else if කියන එකට තමයි මේ elif කියලා දාන්නේ. delta equals 0, print real unequal. Else print complex roots. Okay, for example, when 1 2 1, we know real and equal. You can run it for all the three cases, right? 1 3 2, real and different. 1 1 1, we know that complex roots. Complex roots. Python supports for complex calculations. Huh? All of you? In Python, you can directly use complex numbers. Look at this screen, all of you. Now, 3 plus 4i, if you enter 3 plus 4j, not instead of, normally we are dealing with imaginary unit I, no? But most of the time in engineering applications, instead of I, the j is the symbol used for imaginary unit, right? So if you enter complex number, if you enter number of the form x plus 4j, then it is identified as a complex number with a bracket. Okay, it's a complex number. So let's say we have complex number z 3 plus 4j and complex number w, complex number w minus 4 plus 4j, then you can put z plus w, z minus w. Likewise, you can do all the complex calculations easily. Division is the most complicated one, no? Omega w into z. Likewise, you can use Python ideally for complex calculations directly, right? Actually, Python ideally is a calculator. No, it's an advanced calculator, or it's a scientific calculator. You can do all the calculations that you're doing in a scientific calculator. For example, if it is 5, it is 25. All of you look at square root of 25. Square root of 25, right? If it is square root of minus 25, if it is the square root of minus 25, you know that it should be equal to minus j, no, right? It is equal to minus plus 5 plus j, no. This here the real part is 0. Real part is 3.06 into 10 to the power minus 16. No? That's right. So you can use complex calculations directly, right? Therefore, without using any library, you can find the roots of the program. So there are two roots. So first root, let's say alpha. So alpha is equal to minus b plus delta 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 के මොකක්ද ගන්න ඕනේ square root එක 0.5 divided by 2 into a 2 into a, and let's say the second root is beta, alpha beta. The minus there are two calculations now. Minus b square root of that you can use print alpha alpha, then print a new line alpha beta. I think I have introduced alpha beta. Delta delta delta. Right? 111 them maybe they are not rounded off. That's why you can see this kind of large output. So we can round off 132. It's real and different. The roots are -1 and එතකොට අපිට එක line එකකට මේටින් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. You must put this bracket. You must put this bracket for 2. You must put this bracket for 2a. First we have to calculate 2a, then we have to divide it by 2. Otherwise divided by 2 and the whole result is multiplied by a. Normally when we develop a computer program, always we have to test the program several times. Especially we have to test the program for known cases. Very simple cases, known cases. In software engineering, software testing, the quality assurance, it's a different subject area. There are developers, there are testers, there are quality checkers, likewise various positions available. Algorithm developers. plus or minus කියලා ගහන්න බෑ ඒක. එහෙම හරිද? plus කියන්නේ එකක් minus කියන්නේ තව එකක් නේ. Okay, now we have some idea about this program, and also we have discussed the basics related with all of you, the selection structures. Now I want to introduce few more concepts and their users. Okay, all of you. Next I have, we did exercise number 6 about quadratic. Then we have multiple commands in a single line. It is something that we already know. All of you, look at the screen. I'm on my screen again. The exercise number 6. Look at exercise number 7. We know that A is 12. We did this. B is 13. C is A plus B. Then this is the value of C. So we can put several commands into single line. A is now 1. B is 3. C is A minus B. Print C. We can put several lines into several commands into one physical line by using the semicolon. We are familiar with that. This is called multiple commands. Multiple commands in a single line. Multiple commands in a single line. Okay. Multiple commands in a single line. So we can do the same. We can do the opposite of that. That means we can put several, we can put one line into one command into several lines. Multiple commands in a single line. එතට S එකක් දාන්න ඕන. මේ exercise 8 එකේ තියෙන්නේ sorry, it is single line in multiple commands. Single line. Single command in multiple lines. Yes, single command in multiple lines. That means let's say the command that you have is 12 plus 5. So you can put 12 plus, then put the backslash and go to enter. Then the prompt is moving to the cursor is moving to the next line. Still no any output. You can put anything 5 and press enter. Then it is something like 12 plus 5, right? Yeah, I have mentioned print. I want to print hello. Okay, you can put a backslash and you can go to the next physical line without running the program. Then you can type the rest of the one and enter. I started with single quote but ended with double quote, single quote problem. Okay, so that kind of thing is possible. Yeah, if you're adding several numbers, 12 plus 12 plus 13 plus, I want to continue 10. This is 12 plus 13 plus 10. Okay, I think it is clear, right? there are two concepts here. In the exercise number 7, it is in a single physical line, we have put several Python lines or Python commands or Python instructions. At the same time, it is possible to divide, or it is possible to split a command into several physical lines, right? Right, now I am going to show you a sample program. This is called menu driven program. All of you, I will copy this code and run. All of you, look at, it's just given for demonstration purposes. So menu driven programs are very common programs. Menu driven programs are very common programs. Okay. Look at, in this program, there is an input. No need to do this, right? Just look at, there is an input. A is an input, B is an input, two inputs, right? Then you can see a print function. You can see a print function, but that print function is not ended. Without ending the print function, the program this is the real end of the print function. Then another input, if else situation. Yeah, one more thing I have to explain, all of you. Okay, I will explain it later. Right, I will explain it later. Okay. Now, if you run this program, all of you, if you run this program, the first enter A, that means it is the input at the beginning. Enter, let's say 12. Then it will say enter B. That means the second command, second, okay, I'm going to enter 5. Okay, first command enter A, second command enter B. Now you can see that considerable output here. That is because of there's a print here. No? There's a print here. So what I want to print is, I want to print operations. In the next line, I have to print 1 addition, 2 subtraction, 3 multiplication, 4 division. Actually, this is my menu. This is the menu. So I have to print the menu. So I want to print 5 lines, no, operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So I can use 5 separate print function and do this. But here, instead of using 5 print functions, what I did is, I just print operations, then print \n. After \n, I'm going to print addition. Okay, then you can see that when I enter input for A and input for B, the printing operations, no, operations after a new line, the new line, that means go to the next line. In the next line, the 1 addition is printed, right? So here I'm going to put an additional \n. I want to print operations, then new line, right? Then what is the purpose of this backslash? What is the purpose of this backslash? Can you tell me? What is the purpose of this backslash? Yes, to continue the command. So I want to move into next line. I want to move my code into new line. Command still the same command, no same command. I want to split the command into several lines. That's why, in other words, this backslash a, the program, the command is continue. Command is continue, right? Now the code is also, now code, you can see that now the code is also in the form of the program. So both program and the code having similar style. That's why. Okay, simply this is a print. Instead of printing several values, several print functions, I have used single print function, and that function is splitted into several physical lines in the program. After printing this menu, okay, this is the operation menu. Operation menu. Then there's an input. Enter the operation. For example, let's say if I enter 1, if I enter 1, then x is 1. If x is 1, if x is 1, then print a plus b. So depending on x, 1, 2, 3, 4, the menu numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. No? Yeah, this is a menu. In the menu, how to select the menu items? You have to enter the item number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, multiplication, division. Right? If it is something else, it says invalid. Now I am going to enter 1. Then inputs are 2, 12 and 5. So 12 plus 5 is 70. Likewise, if you run it for different values, again 12 and 5, I'm going to select the operation number 2, subtraction. 12, 5. Let's say something wrong with my selection, my mistakenly if I enter it, says invalid input. Okay, so this is a sample program, right? Okay, this is a sample program. I have put this a very common program. The menu-driven programs are very common in console applications. Even in scientific calculator, there is a menu. No? If you are using a scientific calculator, the old mobile phones, the lot of the refrigerators, air conditioners, likewise, a lot of the electronic devices, not the smartphones that we are using, are menu-driven. For example, in the calculator, if I go to the statistic mode, okay, if I go to options, this is a menu. Okay, there are 3 menu items, 1, 2, 3. So if I select 1, move into hyperbolic functions. Likewise, it's a menu driven situation. If I enter to the setup of the calculator, let's say if you go to options, sorry, if you go to different mode, let's say the complex modes. In complex mode, you can see argument, conjugate, real part, imaginary part. Likewise, it's a menu-driven program. So we have developed that kind of menu-driven program here. Okay. So I have given this program as an example. So what you have to do is, first you have to run this program. Okay. First you have to type this program and run it. Then by looking at the program in exercise number 9, you have to develop your own program for the speed converter. Earlier also we developed a speed converter, therefore I mentioned this as version number 2. In the previous program, it is only one type of conversion. It is only one type of conversion. Meters per second to kilometers per hour. Now we have options to select. Okay. Even that software calculator. Software calculator තියෙනවනේ මෙහෙම. ඔයාලා එකේ තියෙනවනේ මෙහෙම. This you can select. So this here the selection menu or called menu tab. Here using mouse pointer you can select the items with the kilometers per second, meters per likewise. But these are Windows applications. But what we are developing is console applications. Therefore, at the beginning you can put 1, 2, 3, and select item. You have to select an item. So depending on your selection, you have to do the suitable conversion. miles එම convert කරන්නේ ඔය internet එකෙන් හොයාගන්න. ඔය ඉවර වෙලා ඒක දාන්න. So that is the first homework for of the day. You have to do the exercise number 10. Okay, exercise number 10 as a homework. So we will go for a break today. Session is a little bit lengthy than usual lessons. Therefore, we will have a break, and after break, we will start the other stuff. I want to discuss a little bit. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We will start around 10:15. We wish to continue 11:30. Okay. Mereka karangin. Okay, we will start. We are moving to exercise number 11. You have to find the maximum of A and B. That means there are two inputs. The two inputs A and B. You have to produce the largest value or maximum value of AB as the output, right? The maximum of A and B. Maximum of A and B. Okay, ගන්න පුළුවන්. If A greater than B, A greater than B, the output is A, right? Else output is B. If you want, you can put equality. එතට equal කියලා දැම්මත් ප්‍රශ්නකුත් නැහැ, නැතත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ, because when equal situation, one of these is possible, no? Now 12 and 5, therefore output must be 12. If I run the program for 5 and 12, 6 and 89, output should be 89, right? Even the both values are same, 7, 7, output is 7. Okay, and another thing is that all of you, another fact is, if it is single command within if statement, so no need to go to the next line, you can keep it in the same line. Let's say you have just one command within this if statement or else statement or elif statement, then it is sufficient to put, you can put that line along with the if statement. Make a colon එකක් දාලා ඒ පේලියම දාලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. After the else statement and colon, you can put the single command that you have. Okay, right. Now our objective is to develop another program. Okay, develop another program, right? It is a modified version of the previous program. There are three inputs A, B, C. So you have to produce the output of, you have to produce the maximum as the output. You can try it. There are several ways to do this. So I want to deeply discuss this question to highlight all the possible methods. බලන්නකෝ ඔයාලා කරලා output program එක එවන්නකෝ chat එකට දාන්නකෝ. With this program, with exercise number 11, we are going to learn a lot of things. හැමෝම බලන්න කරන්න, කරපු කට්ටිය දාන්න, කරපු නැති අය try එකක් දෙන්න. I can see different answers sent by students. ඔයාලා කරන්නකෝ, කරපු අය උත්තරේ දාන්නකෝ, කරපු answer එක ඔයාලා program එක දාන්නකෝ. We are doing exercise number 11. Those who complete exercise number 11, you can put your code into the chat. Input 3ක් තියෙනවා ABC කියලා. Integers අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. Actually it's not only integers, you can use it. There are several ways to do this, so I want to highlight all the points. So once you did it, so you can try the you can try it for various input cases and check. මම බලන්න මේක කරමු. කරපු අය උත්තර එවන්න. I can see different approaches. I want to discuss this question in detail. උත්තරේ දාන්න හැමෝම කරපු අය. ගොඩක් programs දැන් නම් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. right. දැන් මම ඔයාලගේ program බැලුවා. දැන් මගේ program එකත් බලන්න ඕන. This is my time. All of you, have a look at the screen. All of you, look at the screen. Python is one of the smartest language in the computer world. Okay, Python is the smartest programming language. Python is the most prettiest, most smartest programming language. Therefore, we have to use that smartness. Okay, actually, the most simple way, all of you, the most simple way, most smartest way of using Python is something like this: a greater than b and a greater than or equal c, right? Then it is, you know, you can think like this. You have to listen, all of you. Definitely output is either a or b or c. One of these, we have three options. So out of these three options, we have to select one. So when the output is 1, when a is greater than b and a is greater than c. So by using AND statement, you can combine these two and you can put it into single line. Actually, no need to go to two line. If now b means b greater than or equal 0 and b greater than or equal 0 and c a and b greater than or equals c, right? Then the output is c, output is b, right? Else output is c. So this is the method 1, or this is the smartest method that I suggest, method 1. Okay, we can use if else. Okay, some of you have done this method, that is all right. That is all right. Okay, if it is 12, 13, 10, output must be 13, right? You can try various combinations and check this. Okay, look at I want to explain this. There's another approach of doing this, right? These are different approaches that I want to highlight. Other method that I want to highlight is, look at method, let's say method 2. It is if else method. That means we are going to use several if else statements. Look at if a greater than or equal b, a greater than or equal b. At the same time, I am going to check a greater than or equal c, right? Now we are going to use if statement within another if statement, right? This is called if nesting. This concept is called nesting or nested if else statements. That's what I want to highlight. Okay, I did not discuss nesting. Now there are two if statements. No, outer if statement, a greater than or equal b. So we are the condition for a greater than outer a great, if a is greater than b, at the same time we are going to compare a and c, right? Then print a. Else what is else? What should be the මොකක්ද else එකට දාන්න ඕන කියන්න බලන්න type කරන්න බලන්න ඔයාලා else it should be C, right? Now A is greater than B. A is greater than B, and then but A is not less. A is not greater than C. That means C is greater than A. Now C is the highest of them all, right? And if I use else statement here, that else statement related with the outer if statement, outer. In the third line, in this line, there are two tabs, right? Here we are coming here, we are here because of A is less than B now. A is less than B now. In other word, B is greater than A now. In the first case, A is greater than B. In the second case, B is greater than A. Now what we have to compare? Here what we have to compare? What are the two values that we want to compare? මොන දෙකද දැන් ආපහු අපි compare කරන්න ඕන? Now earlier A is greater than B, no? Therefore no need to worry about B. We have to only compare A and C. Now the B is the largest value out of A and B. Therefore we have to compare A and we have to compare the two largest value B and C, right? If B is greater than or equals C, B is the largest of them all. Therefore print B else print C. Okay, actually in this one I want to highlight this method because this is the first time where we use the nested situation. Nested බලන්න උත්තර දෙකක් එන්න ඕන. method 1 එකනොත් එන්න ඕන, method 2 එකනොත් එන්න ඕන. If I enter 12 12 13 14, output is 14 twice because of the method 1 and method 2. පැහැදිලිද? method 2 එකේදී වෙන්නේ A එකයි B එකයි මුලින් බලනවා. වැඩි A නේ. ඊට පස්සේ වැඩිපුර එක A B දෙන්නගේ වැඩි අගය තියෙන Aට A එක C එකත් එක්ක කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා. A එකයි C එකයි කම්පෙයාර් කරලා C එකටත් වඩා A එක වැඩි නම් A තමයි මැක්සිමම් එක. නැත්තම් C එක. දැන් මේ මේල්ස් එකට එන්නේ මොකක් වුණොත්ද? මේල්ස් එකට එන්නේ අර මේ if එක false වුණොත් මෙන්න මේ condition එක false වුණොත් තමයි මෙතෙන්ට එන්නේ. පල්ලෙහාට එන්නේ. එහෙනම් එතෙන්ට අපි එන්නේ B greater than A කියන තැනට තමයි එන්නේ. මේ කමෙන්ට් එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. B greater than A වුණා. ඒතර B තමයි වැඩි අගය තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර B එකයි අපි බලපු නැති එක C එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මේ උඩ ටිකේදී වෙන්නේ A වලගේ B වලට වඩා වැඩි. එතකොට අපි A එකයි C එකයි කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා. මෙතෙන්දි කරන්නේ B එකයි C එකයි කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා. Okay, so this is the nesting situation. If you did not do it in nested method, if you did not do it in nested method, do nesting කියලා කියන්නේ එකක් ඇතුලේ තව එකක් තියෙනකොට තමයි nesting කියලා කියන්නේ. If you didn't do it in nested method, do it in nested method. If you didn't do it in if else method, do it in that method. ඒක method දෙකෙන්ම කරලා බලන්න. මම කෝඩ් එක දාලා තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට output නැත්නම් program එක ලියන්න පුළුවන් methods දෙකෙන්ම මෙතන මේ ක්‍රම තුනක් මම ඇත්තටම කියලා දෙන්න බැලුවේ. ක්‍රම තුනක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන method තුනෙන්ම උනත් මේක ලියන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින්ලා අනිත් method එකෙන් කරලා බලන්න. අපි දෙකම ලියමු. all of you. ඔයාලා කරපු method එක නැතුව අනිත් method එකක් නම් මෙතන තියෙන මේ method එකෙන් try කරලා බලන්න. Especially I want to introduce the nesting here. nesting තමයි කියලා දෙන්න ඕන. ඒ උනාට අනිත් එක තමයි ලේසි. අර අනිත් විදිය තමයි ලේසි. as method 1, I introduce if else method, right? The method as the method 2, I introduce nested if else. තව ක්‍රම තියෙනවා මේක කරන්න. Do you have any other ideas? ඔයාලා alternative codes තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න. In addition to these two methods, if you have any other method, just put it. පරිසරයට කියන්න. පරිසරයට අර කොළ පාට අලු Okay. I'm going to explain method to all of you. All of you. I'm going to explain method 2, method 3. Now, so far we have discussed two methods. The one of the method is, first method is if else if method. If else if method. It is for three variables now. It is for three numbers. So we are going to compare three numbers. Right? Think about, you have to find the maximum of four numbers. Maximum of four numbers. Maximum of four numbers. You have to find maximum of four numbers. Then what happened to the first method? If else if method, if the inputs are A, B, C, D, output can be A, B, C, D. So you have to use if else if ladder with four possible cases. If it is 10 cases, you have to write it for 10 cases. If it is 1,000 cases, you have to write it for 1,000 cases. මේ වගේ අර A එන්න පුළුවන්, B එන්න පුළුවන්, C එන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. That's the method. Think about the second method. The second method that I introduced was the nesting method. When we have two values, we have to compare ones only. When we have three values, we have to compare two of them and obtain a result, and compare that result with the third result. Clear? That result. That means when we have three, we have to do at least two comparisons. At least two comparisons. That means comparison level. After one comparison, we have to do another comparison. Therefore, the nesting depth, the depth of the nest, it is called nesting depth, is twice. If එකක් ඇතුලේ if එකක් දානවා. If it is the four values A, B, C, D, you have to go to three levels. එකක් ඇතුලේ තව එකක් දාලා ඒක ඇතුලේ තව එකක් දාන්න. මම හිතන්නේ මේ හැමෝම ඒ විදිහට කරලා බැලුවා නේද මේක? I think all of you have done the second method. Actually, second method is not good in the case of a Python program. If you are Python program, it's better to write down it in first method, because Python is smart. In Python only you can write down this kind of simple codes. But as a beginner, in order to understand nesting, you must be able to do the second one. ඒකද අනිවාර්යෙන් හැමෝම කරපු නැති කට්ටියත් second එක කරලා බලන්න ඕන. It is the place where you can learn the nesting. Okay? In the nesting method, you have to go to the three levels of depth if you have three variables. Okay? Right. Now, my question is, so both of these methods are not practical. Both of these codes are not practical when we have several values, more than 10-20 values. It's not practical. The code is unnecessarily deep. The depth code is complicated. Right. Normally, I'm going to tell you a special fact here. Normally, we have computers now. The computer is very powerful. Computer can do calculations. That's the main thing. The computer can do the calculations precisely. Computer can do the calculation without errors. Computer can do the calculations at a very fast rate compared to humans. Those things available, but always we have to tell the computer, do this and do this. Otherwise computer cannot do it. Computer cannot think. Computers are not intelligent. Okay? The computers are not intelligent. You have to tell. Computer is powerful, but you have to tell. Let's say you have you have a vehicle or something like that. But vehicle is not intelligent. You have to drive, or you have to use it carefully, or you have to in intelligent manner. You have to instruct it, right? Whether it is a very old car or a modern vehicle, if you did not properly instruct, there can be a disaster, right? So when it is a machine or computer or a machine or robot, no, usually the current electronic systems, computer systems are not intelligent. So we have to guide, we have to write programs, right? So when we write in computer programs, hmm, always we have to tell the computer, do this, do this, do this. Computer cannot do anything else. What we tell, what computer do is what we tell. අපි කියන එක තමයි එයා කරන්නේ. එයා රෙන්න අලුතෙන් දෙයක් හිතලා කරන්න බෑ. We have to guide. So most of the time what happen is we have a problem. We have a problem and we have a solution, right? But computer program means computer program will give a solution, will convert that into digital form. For example, when you have three numbers, if I give you three numbers, definitely you can find the maximum of the three number by looking at it. You can find, you know how to do it, right? Now writing computer program means you have to convert what you know into a way that computer can understand. Let's say a situation let's say a situation like this. Now I ask you to write a computer program to solve a quadratic equation. Okay, I'm going to say that develop a computer program that will find the solution of the quadratic equation. So it's not a rocket science for you. You can do it because you know, you have learned, even from the O level, you have learned that how to find the solution of a quadratic equation. If I ask a person who did commerce or art in A level, but he's fluent in Python programming and all, if I ask him to write a program to find the solution of a quadratic equation, he will wonder. He knows the Python syntax, if statement, else statement, and everything, but don't know, because not aware of how to find the solution of a quadratic equation. If I given you IIR, capital and all, ඔයාලට මොන හරි rate එකක් නේ අර financial calculation එකක් දුන්නොත් you will be stuck. මේ capital එක මෙච්චරයි අරන් මනන් ඔහොම කියලා දුන්නොත් you may be expert in maths, you may be expert in programming, still you are not familiar with this IIR calculation or financial routine IIR calculation, then you cannot find it, right? So my point is, writing computer programs means converting what we know, what we can do, into a way that computer can understand. You can only write a computer program to solve quadratic equations only if you know the method. If you don't know the method, you cannot do it, right? That's it. Now, normally when I ask a computer program, when I ask student to write a computer program, especially when I was in NIBM, when I ask somebody to write a computer program for particular application, right? Normally they will think in a totally different manner. Totally different manner means they will think, oh, what a problem, how to solve this. In a computer, there is no any special method. If you can solve a problem, if you know how to convert kilometers per into meters per second, if you know how to convert Fahrenheit into Celsius, then you can write a program, you can convert that solution into a computer program. That's it. First thing you should know. If you know the method, what you have to do is you have to convert it into computer program, right? So think about this situation. You have to find the maximum of 3 numbers. Okay, you have to find the maximum of 3 numbers, right? Then if I give you 3 numbers, if I give you 3 numbers, okay, if I give you 3 numbers, all of you can find the maximum because you know the method. Now think අපි බලමුකෝ මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්ටරැක්ටිව් විදියට ගන්න. කාගෙන් හරි අපි අහමු බලන්න මේ ශිෂ්‍යත්වයට ලකුණු කීයක් තියෙනවද කියලා. Yeah, there's a student, her name is Kimali Ginige. Can you just put how many marks that you obtained for your grade 5 scholarship examination? Kimali, can you just put yes? Okay, she has put it's one of our student. Her grade 5 scholarship marks is 188. Well, මම හිතන්නේ A level කරලා තියෙන, you have done your A levels in grade 5 exams in 2010 or something like that. So I did my grade 5 scholarship examination in 1995, right? I got 180 marks. District 1985. 1995. I was born in 1985. 1995. Okay. At that time, the cutoff mark for Royal College is 172. Vishaka Vidyalaya, it is 170 or 71, something like that. Okay. So now we have Kimali's grade 5 scholarship marks and my scholarship marks. අපි මේ කාටද බලමු වැඩිපුරම තියෙන්නේ ඒකයි මම බලන්න හදන්නේ. Okay. There is another friend. There was another guy from Parameswaram, is also our good friend. What about you? How many marks that you obtained for your? Yes. From where you are? I think he's a Tamil medium, no? Yeah, this Tamil medium. And I'm going to put his mark. It is his grade 5 scholarship mark is 179. Okay. I just took this story because to make it more interesting. Otherwise, it is not clear. Now you know the maximum is 188, right? If you think slowly, step by step, way that you obtain the maximum as the Kimali Hinige's mark 188. All of you, think how did you obtain? I did this slowly because when I give 3 numbers, you will within 1 second you will find the maximum. Normally, to find, let's say you have 1000 or 100 numbers, at once how many numbers that you compare? At once how many numbers that you are going to compare? At once how many numbers that you are going to compare? Even though it is 100 numbers, we only compare 2 numbers, right? So what happened was, when I asked our students marks 188, so you have recorded that first value 188, right? You have memorized, so now we know it is 188. So when I asked the second one, when I gave my marks 180, so you compare that 188 with 180, and by comparing these two, you obtain that sir ගේ ලකුණු වලට වැඩිය මේ එයාගේ ලකුණු වැඩි කියලා. Then the next time I ask the marks from another student, right? You compare that 180, that 180 with 179. So this is the approach. Let's say if I ask marks from another student, right? Let's say it is 190. Then what happened is we have compared 180, 188 and 179. Their maximum is 188. That 188 is compared with 190. That's how we only compare two at a time, two values at a time, right? So if I use this approach in order to write this program, right? So initially I'm going to have a variable called m. M is used for maximum. Okay. Now initially I'm going to say that a is the maximum. Okay. In other words, we can do like this: if a greater than or a greater than or equals b, then the maximum is a. Here I'm going to compare a and b. Okay. Else the temporary, m means temporary maximum, or the maximum out of first two values. I just compare a and b. M is the maximum of a and b, right? Here m is the maximum of a and b. There is a function called maximum. Later I will explain. Here I want to slowly introduce this method, because most of the time when there is a program to write, if you ask you to find the maximum of three numbers, they know how to find the maximum of three numbers manually. But when I ask write a computer programs, the students are totally worried. Oh, what a problem! I don't know. I have never think about such thing. Likewise, මේක නිකන් කවදාවත් කරලා නැහැ. අර මේ 17 කල්පනා කරනවා. ඇහුවම පුළුවන්. තේරුණා? දැන් මම ඔයාලට කිව්වොත් if I ask to write a program to find the square root of a given number, if I ask you to write a program find the square root of a given number without using exponent function, by using O level method, මම හිතන්නේ භාගයක්වත් කට්ටිය කරයි කියලා. Because you cannot remember that. Even I can't remember that method. right? අපිට පුළුවන් එකක් නම් ඒක කෝඩ් එකට හරවන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒකයි. ගොඩක් අයට මේ ඒක අලුතෙන් හිතන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දන්න එකම කෝඩ් එකට හැරෙවුවම හරි. That's the simplest way. You don't have to follow a special method in computers. In computers also, you have to follow the same method that you know. Now we have compared A and B, right? Then what we have to do is we have to compare. Look at, we have to compare M and C. We have to compare M and C. M should be the maximum of M and C. Again, we can use, look at, we can use a similar program. Now we have to compare M with C, M and C, right? If M greater than or equals M, actually nothing change, M is equal to M. Nothing change, M is equal M. In other words, you can put this kind of, you have to put any command, no? You can put pass, you have to put something. In such situation, you cannot skip it. You have to put at least one command within if statement. So you can use pass. At the moment we will say M equals M, else M equals C. Okay, so finally we can print M. We'll run this 12 14. Okay, if I run it here, now the value of M is 188. That one is compared with C, right? Still we have providing input. Okay, 170. Initial value will be 188. After the second calculation also it will be right. So this kind of method is called a recursive method. Recursive method. This is a recursive method because we are going to use the same step again and again. The same step means comparing two values again and again. We are going to compare two values again and again. Recursive. They are compare. Actually, I can write a more smart code here. Look at whether it is clear for all. What I have to do is the same thing. Look at what I have to do is the same thing. Look, I have to do a similar. Look at. I'm going to copy the previous code. Look whether it is clear for you. Now what is now only thing is variables are different. No? Previously we compare A and B. Now we have to compare M and C. Now we have to compare M and C. That means now A is M. A is M. B is A is M. B is C. Is it clear? I just rename A and B because already we have written a code. Look at this first part is the code to compare two values. In that case, two values are A and B. No? Here is also the same one. The only thing is now the values are different. A and B are different. Now A and B are M and C. Therefore, I just reassign values M and C, M for A and C for B, and compare these two. Therefore, no need to change the code within the because it's a previous calculation. It's a previous we have previous calculation means comparing two values. We have to recompare two values. The only thing is that the values are different. මේ code එකේ මේවා වෙනස් කරනවට වෙනකොට මුලින්ම දෙන්න මෙයා කියලා දැම්මම ඇති. 188, 180, 179. Okay. Is it clear for all of you? Right. The other important fact is and the other thing is that all of you, there is a function, all of you, there is a function called max function. By using max function, it is possible to compare two values at the same time. For example, 12 and 13 will be compared and maximum is written as the output. Now our method is first we are going to compare 188 with 180. Okay, then I have to compare the maximum of first two with the third one. Okay, so the method that I use is something like this. The method I used is something like this. I did not use the maximum function. By using if else, what I implement is something like maximum function. Actually, the maximum function is very smart. By using maximum function, you can compare several values. දෙකක් විතරක් නෙමෙයි තුනක් වුණත් එකපාර compare කරන්න හතරක් විතරක් එකපාර compare කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? The most simplest way is use the maximum function to find maximum, but you should know the fundamentals. That's why I want to introduce this. Okay, is it clear all of you? වැඩේ තේරුණාද? මෙතන අපි A එකයි B එකයි compare කරලා එන values දෙක value එකයි C compare කරනවා. දැන් අපි ඒක පළවෙනි වැලියු එක තමයි a කියලා ගන්න හැමතිස්සෙම දෙවෙනි වැලියු එක තමයි b කියලා ගන්න. හිතන්නකෝ අපිට තව d කියලා වැලියු එකක් තිබ්බත් මේ කෝඩ් එකම දාන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට තව එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කම්පෙයාර් කරන්න ආපහු මේ ටිකමයි එන්නේ. තුන්වෙනි ස්ටෙප් එකක් තිබ්බත් මේ ටිකමයි එන්නේ. කොපි කරලා දාන්න තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට තියෙන්නේ m එකයි d එකයි කම්පෙයාර් කරන්න. අතර a වෙන්නේ m b වෙන්නේ d කියලා ගත්තම් හරි. එතකොට a b දෙන්න කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා වගේ md කම්පෙයාර් වෙනවා. Okay? So that's it. So there are a lot of inbuilt functions like max function. So later we are going to look at these function one by one. So in the exercise 7, all of you, in the exercise number 7, you have to develop a tariff calculator. Exercise 11 is a tariff calculator. It says Ceylon Electricity Board uses following tariff structure for domestic consumers. For 0 to 90 units, 7 rupees. For example, let's say you have 10 units. 10 unit means 10 into 7. The price is 10 into 7. Okay, that means 70 rupees. If you have used 100 units, for the first 90 units you have to pay by 7. Then 7 into 90 plus 7 into 90 plus the 12 into 10. That's how it is calculated, no? Okay. Then you can write a program, because depending on the range you have to select. Depending on the range you have to select. Depending on the number range you have to number of units consumed, you have to allocate. Actually, the actual bill is not like this. Actual bill having lot of level, lot of steps. Bill එක අරන් බලන්න ගෙදර තියෙන එක එක unit ගන්නට මෙහිමයි කියලා. This is a simple example that I have put. Okay, so you can develop this program. Okay, you can develop this program, but the thing is that you have to do a validation. You have to do a validation. You know what is called validation. For example, think about in your mobile phone. In your mobile phone, when you are going to save a telephone number contact, you have to enter name, and you have to enter the telephone number. For the telephone number field, you cannot enter text, right? If you type a text, it says invalid, you cannot enter text here, right? You know what is validation? Something like that. Think about the pass-fail program that we develop. Pass-fail program or the ABC grading example. In this program, if I enter 200, in this one, if I enter 200, it will say A pass. If I enter negative value, it will say W. But when it is marks, the range of marks is 0 to 100. The first thing is that when you are developing a program to produce the grade when the marks is given as input, after taking the input, you have to go through it and you have to check whether it is a valid marks. By mistake or something like that, if it is greater than 100, you have to say that marks cannot be greater than 100. It is invalid. If it is negative value, again you have to say. Likewise, in this one also, in this program also, you have to do a validation. Use a suitable validation for the input. Let's say this is a normal electricity consumer. There are solar power and so on. Let's say, what is the requirement for validation? මොන වගේ එකක්ද අපි බලන්න ඕන? Validate කරන්න ඕන කොහොමද මේක? මොන වගේ එකක්ද? What is your opinion? How to validate this? The number of unit is the input, no? The number of unit is the input. So it should be a positive value. It should be a positive. It cannot be negative. Simplest validation method is, at the moment, you can think that the unit must be greater than 0. If units are greater than or equal to 0, it can be 0. Units are greater than or equal to 0, you have to accept. Otherwise, you have to say invalid. We can further improve this. At the moment, it is sufficient to check that units are greater than 0, and the number of units must be a digit. It must be a digit, a number. It is not a text, right? So we can check it like that also. As a simple situation, it is sufficient to check whether it is positive. Okay, positive or 0. Validate කියන්නේ validate කරනවා කියලා අපි කියන්නේ එකට අදාළද කියලා වගේ බලන එක තමයි අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ. හරි? එකට ගැළපෙන එකක් වෙන්න ඕන. ඒක වළංගු වෙනවා. වළංගු කියන එක තමයි validate කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒක validate කරන්න ඕන. වළංගු එකක්. දැන් marks නම් ඒක validate වෙන්න. validate marks නම් value එක marks කියන input එක ගත්තොත් if the input is marks, normally all the inputs must be validate, when you write in a computer program. When it is marks, the marks must be a number. It must be a number in the range of 0 to 100. Let's say the number of in this example, it is sufficient to check whether it is a positive integer or 0. Okay. Normally, let's say the number of students in the classroom. When the number of students in the classroom, it should be a positive integer. It should be a whole number. Likewise, we can discuss this. So you can do something like this. You can do something like this in the calculator one. Let's say M. Look at, enter your marks. Enter your marks. I'm going to write a simple code here. Simple name for marks. Okay. Now, if 0 less than or equal M less than or equal 100, you can go ahead. M, simple M. M greater than or equals 40, print pass. Else print fail. Another else here, print invalid. Invalid. අර ඒ වගේ මොකක් හරි use කරන්න කියන එක තමයි මම මේ කියන්නේ. Enter your marks, for example, 78. You are pass, right? But if your input is 120, it will say invalid. Okay. Normally, when it is invalid situation, you have to further guide invalid. Then otherwise they will be confused. No? Print must be in the range. You can say out of range, invalid. Out of range. Then the user of the program knows, oh, invalid, out of range. Then something wrong, right? That you have to use that kind of validation method in the exercise number 12. Okay. So I'm not going to code that, so you can do it. And also the exercise number 3 is about testing simultaneous systems. You have to enter rank of A, rank of A, B, number of variables. You have learned this under the matrices. So depending on their rank, we can compare. Okay, depending on their rank, we can compare. Rank of A is equal to rank of AB is equal to number of variable, unique solution. Rank of A is equal to rank of AB, but less than number of variables, many solution, right? Inconsistency. Otherwise, invalid input. Usually, the rank of A is less than or equal to rank of AB in a simultaneous system, right? ඒ වගේ එහෙම ඔයාලට පුළුවන් කෝඩ් එකක් ලියන්න. වැලිඩේට් කරන්නත් අපි if එක පාවිච්චි කරලා තමයි වැලිඩේට් කරන්නේ. if else එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා තමයි වැලිඩේට් කරන්න. ඒකයි මම එහෙම කිව්වේ. Okay? ඒක ඕන්න nesting විදියට කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. When it is a validation situation, you can use nesting or if else statement. Right? So actually this time I extended this practical. Normally I didn't discuss this much under the selection structures. Normally in all the previous sessions, what I did was I did the Python operations and selection structures as a single session without going to this much of detail. So this time I want to discuss this validation, maximum, nesting and all. That's why I have make it to single session. According to the timetable, the next practical that I have set was spreadsheets. Well, spreadsheets ටිකක් දන්නවද? Do you know is Excel and all? Excel එකම දන්නවද ටිකක්? එක ප්‍රශ්න අහලා තිබ්බ Excel වලින් මේකත් එක්ක මට හිතුණා ඒක කරන්න කියලා. Actually, initially I thought that I'm not going to do spreadsheet. Therefore, I did not include the spreadsheet practical here. Usually, the practical number 7 is spreadsheet. By using spreadsheets, we can do a lot of things. Even we can use if-else statements, we can do matrix calculations and so on. So next week, I wish to discuss spreadsheet. පොඩ්ඩක් කරලත් ඇති, but දන්නේ නැති කට්ටියත් ගොඩක් ඉන්න හින්දා මම ඒක කරන්න කියලා බැලුවේ. With the August study pack, I have sent the practical sheet for spreadsheets. බලන්න ඒක හම්බුනේ නැතොත් අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ වෙද්දි හම්බෙච්ච නැති අය හිටියොත්. Otherwise, we can do this practical repetitive structures practical next week. And okay, we'll see what we can do. Therefore, I'm going to do another practical in addition to the practicals available here. Spreadsheet practical. Okay, ඒ වෙද්දි හම්බ වෙන්නේ next Thursday නේ තියෙන්නේ. Therefore, next week I'm going to do the spreadsheet practical. So after completing the spreadsheet practical, we are moving to the rest of the Python programming practical. And I will give you definitely I will give you a quiz for this exercise, right? You have to upload several programs. Always, if you have some new programs, if you develop some new programs, your own ideas, your own programs, always share your code with me. Then I can share the if you have some important programs, important concepts, I can share with our students. Okay, in the මොන හරි අලුතෙන් programs ලිව්වොත් කරන්න. So last week we developed digital electronic circuit. So one of the student has developed a flip-flop program for a flip-flop. It's a flip-flop. Likewise, if you have some new ideas, always you can share with me. Then we can share with all other students. Okay. Code එකත් එක්ක එවන්න මොන හරි තියෙනවා නම්, if it is a special invention and if it is a special algorithm belongs to you, so do not share your code with somebody else. So when it is a simple program, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of this tute, you can see the projective questions. At the end of the tute, you can see the projective question under the exercise number 9 and 10. Our objective is to do several projective questions actually. Sometimes you may know about projective, right? It's a very interesting area. They are very challenging area. So my objective is to move, direct you towards the projective questions. Last time also some students did more than 50 projective questions. We'll see, right? Okay, any other matters to discuss? This is additional. This is additional what I'm going to say here. There are a lot of string functions. There are a lot of string related functions. For example, let's say S is a string. S is a string, right? S is a string. Hello. Then you have various function. Is S dot is alpha. Dot එකක් තිබ්බ ගමන් මෙන්න ඔක්කොම. Is digit. Is decimal. Is alphanumeric. Is lower. Is upper. ඒ වගේ ඔයාලට පුළුවන් නම්බර් එකක්ද කියලා චෙක් කරගන්න. Is digit. Is alphanumeric. Is alphabetical. Is ASCII. Is decimal. Is digit. Now it is false because S is not digit. අපි හිතමු දැන් S එකට තියෙන්නේ 1 2 වගේ කියලා. Then S digit is true. ඇත්තටම digit කියන්නේ digits කියන එක මේක ඇතුලේ ඔක්කොම තියෙන්නේ digits ද කියලා check කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Let's say for the marks you have enter particular text, then it should be avoided. No, such situation you can use is numeric function, alphanumeric. Likewise, various string related functions are available. I did not discuss them in detail. Therefore, at the moment when it is a validation, it is sufficient to, normally when it is a validation, range can be, the validation is based on several factors. Range is one factor. Can range type again check කරන්න පුළුවන්. Range type ඒ වගේ එහෙම එක එක විදිහට validate කරන්න පුළුවන්. There are 6 handouts in there are 5 tutes, 5 tutes. Electrical engineering tutes, fluid mechanics tute, computer tute, computer arithmetic tute, 3D geometry tute, and an Arduino programming tute. Okay, there are 5 tutes and a single practical sheet, that is the electronic spreadsheet practical. In addition to that, I have put the timetables for August and September in the study pack. Okay, they are the available items in the study pack. Okay, මේ study pack යවුවේ අර මම වෙනද යවන්නේ අර clear bags කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒව සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රුපියල් 25කට විතර වගේ ගන්න පුළුවන් clear bag එකක් ගොඩක් ගන්නකොට. දැන් අර මේ පොලිතින් ගේන්න දෙන්නේ නැති හින්දා මේ clear bags නැහැ ගන්න මාකට් එකේ. තියෙනේවත් රුපියල් 80ක් 100ක් විතර වගේ කියනවා මේ අර ගොඩක් ගන්නකොටම අඩු වෙන්නේ. ඒකින්ද මම මේ එව්ව එක්ක සමහර ඒවා envelopes එව්ව සමහර ඒවා cardboard file වල එම තමයි මේ එව්වේ. හරි. ඒකින්ද මේ සමහරලාට ඒවට damage වෙලා එමත් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් එහෙම මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබ්බොත් කියන්න මම පුළුවන් තරම් safe විදියට එව්වේ. clear bag එක නැති හින්දා. සමහර අයට මම clear bags දැම්මා මේ තිබ්බ ඒවා. සමහර අයට cardboard file ඒ වගේ එහෙම දැම්මා. ඒවයි මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබ්බොත් මට කියන්න. මොන හරි ටියුට් වල අඩුපාඩු තිබ්බොත් එම කියන්න ප්‍රැක්ටිකල් ෂීට් හරි මොන හරි අඩුපාඩු තිබ්බොත් මට කියන්න මම මේ හරි ඔයාලා ලියවෙන්න පුළුවන් එහෙනම්